and welcome to episode 51 of Your Ultimate Comeback. 1 week away from our one of ours 1 year anniversary.
And then I hijacked you.
You did.
Halfway through.
Yeah, you took over.
Well, I don't know about that.
You took over.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Hey, we have a guest back with us.
Yes.
Shelby Torrese. Back. She was with us episode 30. It was a phenomenal episode, and we were dying to have her back.
Yep.
Raquel was dying to ask a few questions.
Yes.
So those will be rattled off here very quickly, but we've been looking forward to this. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Are you just throwing it at
I'm
me
looking
now?
at you, because
Okay.
I know
All right.
how much you've been waiting for this.
Well, the last time Shelby was here, I had not yet done the muscle testing with you.
Correct.
We talked about how she got me to eat red meat after 30 years, how I got off caffeine thanks to you. Not that I was doing a lot of it, but still. I'm trying to think what other things that you helped me with in the very beginning. Well, those were two biggies for sure. And then when you came on and we're talking about the muscle testing that you had done with her, I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't get to do that.
FOMO.
Exactly. So I went in and did it. I'm just going to say trippy. It's wild. It's wild. And it's hard to explain. I'm going to let you explain a little bit about it. But what was the wildest thing for me is you said, for me, the things that came up, heavy metals, adrenals, wow, shocker, and a parasite. And the parasite it grosses me out because it makes me think of little wiggly things. You know what I mean? That's in your.
We all have parasites.
Okay.
We all have parasites.
Always?
Yes.
Okay.
Whether they're problematic or not is what we look at.
Okay. Yeah. So you work on attacking the first three things that you see. Is that correct, or is it top?
So what you're confusing it with is I usually don't start people on more than 4 supplements.
Got it.
If they're, if they've been taking supplements a long time, they're just kind of ready to dive in. I'll go more than that. But the first 4 is usually perfect because it'll address what, if you go back and listen to the other episode, unblocking or unswitching.
Okay.
And then we go from there.
Right. Well, what really
You were switched, right?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't know if I still am. I think sometimes I am.
It changes week to week sometimes
Does it?
for people. So without your chart in front of me, I won't know.
Okay. I'm hurt that you don't have it committed
I
to
know.
memory.
I don't have I don't walk around with your chart.
Damn. But what really hit me when I went through that with her, and you're raising your arm and you're matching pressure and you're kind of thinking, what the hell am I doing right now? But when she said, okay, heavy metals and specifically zinc is coming up for you. And I was like, wait, what? Because I was taking zinc every single day as sort of a fallout, let's call it, from COVID protocol. Like, oh, zinc is good for you to keep you from getting COVID. Okay, I'm going to take zinc. So I was taking it every single day, and no one had ever told me that's probably not the best idea. So that's what really got my attention. That, oh, okay, this is. She could have said anything, and she said that, and that was definitely something I was doing. So I had been on a lot of supplements from my more homeopathic doctor, and you told me, let's try this. You can stay with what you were doing as well in conjunction with what I'm suggesting, or you can abandon those for now. I love the way she sort of approaches things where she gives you the choice. She doesn't say, this is what you need to do or else you're wrong,
That's not my style.
No, not at all. So that was great. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go all in on this and try what she's suggesting. And so far, so good. I think have been a good student so far.
Yeah, you've been a great student.
Yeah.
You and Quinn.
Right. And my daughter went in too. She had been struggling with some things, and Shelby has really helped her with that. Brad, on the other hand.
Whoa. I thought we were going to keep that under the radar.
No, just you're so busy. You need to get back at it.
I do, but I do want to validate something.
Yes.
I was a horrible patient. That's not what I'm validating, but I'm admitting to that.
Okay.
Life has just been crazy since I saw you. But if you remember in that episode, I talked about how you found my number one layered issue was my liver. And I told you that's crazy because I've had such major issues with my liver enzymes in my labs. Ever since I stopped drinking alcohol, all of a sudden my liver enzymes went through the roof, and they just kept getting higher and higher and higher, and no one could explain it. So I
freaked you out a little bit.
Well, yeah, because it's like no matter what I did, they just kept getting higher. Like we're talking, I cut out alcohol, I cut out soda, like all the things that are supposed to have the negative impact, and it just the more I'd cut out, like the higher they went. So yes, I was a bad patient, but I did take all the supplements you gave me. And I would like to tell you that my last blood test, all my liver enzymes are back to normal for the first time in like
Amazing. I love that.
a year and a
Where's
half.
our applause, Caesar? Don't we have a little applause?
Oh, here it comes.
Here he goes. Oh, he wasn't ready. Yes, good job, Brad. Good job, Brad.
So that was definitely a half, you know what, effort.
That's okay.
But it did have some
This
good
is
impact.
like a standing ovation.
Yeah. Because at least I
get you
did
back on
something.
track.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
So I was super excited about that because
Good.
it had been a year and a half. And at one point they were like over 80, which to me, that's freaky high for me because I've never ever been like above normal. And now they're back down to on the lower side of normal.
And when did you do your blood work most recently?
It was like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had 2 different panels done.
Uh-huh.
Here's something. Maybe you can kick in on this a little bit. I'm starting to recognize that there is not commonality amongst blood panels.
It also greatly depends on who's reviewing it. You know, one doctor may have a very different normal range than someone else.
Yeah.
Like if I brought blood work to Hogue, some random person at Hogue that doesn't know anything about me, they're just looking at my blood work. Yeah. They're going to give me a very different answer than my doctor, who I work very closely with. I would trust my life with. Like he's very much aligned with my values and standards of health. He's going to give me a totally different read.
So I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking about results. I had blood chemistry done from 2 different lab companies within a week of each other, and they were drastically different.
Oh.
Well,
Wow.
your blood work can change even by the hour sometimes. It just depends on where you're at, what you ate, what your stress levels are, how you slept the night before. Did you take supplements? Did you go fasted? There's so many factors. And that's also something I tell people. I'm a fan of blood work. I want people to, get their labs and do all that. I get blood work once, sometimes twice a year. But I also remind people it gives you a very narrow picture
It's a snapshot
of where you're at right now.
What was interesting is in that 1 week time span, I just wanted to kind of see. A friend of mine was like, hey, I'll just do this for free. I want you to come check out what we do. So I did that, and I had my regular one like the week later. 2 totally different recommendations were made for what I needed according to my blood chemistry. That freaked me out a little bit.
I can understand that.
We're talking 2 drastically different outcomes and 2 drastically different recommendations on what I should do to get healthy. I'm like, well, which one's right? I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
It kind of made me devalue the value of blood chemistry.
Oh, interesting.
I'm like, okay, well, which one is right?
Yeah.
That's my first, because they both tell you they're super accurate. But like, how could they be so different within a week? And they're like parameters that aren't supposed to move a whole lot, which was like really weird. Like one blood test said my blood was super thick, and the other one was it was totally fine.
Yeah.
Like, it was just some weird stuff. I'm like, okay, that freaks me out a little bit. Because I've always just valued blood chemistry as blood chemistry and kind of thought, everyone was kind of doing the same thing. So results would be pretty typically the same. But to have them be like so off, like to where 2 different protocols would be recommended to optimize my health. I was sitting there thinking, well, which one do I follow?
Yeah.
And you bring me those blood chemistry results, I'm gonna recommend 2 totally different things myself.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm like, well, which one do I do to get healthy?
Probably what Shelby says.
Yeah. Obviously, we know that already. But I will say my liver enzymes were really good on both blood panels.
Great.
Excellent.
Love to hear it.
Excellent. So just in case people haven't, they didn't tune into episode 30 when you were on the first time, give them a little snapshot of what you do specifically.
Okay. So I do something called nutrition response testing. It's a form of root cause healing. It's a form of applied kinesiology or muscle testing. There's a lot of different styles, I'll say. I do one called nutrition response testing. It's really a form of cellular rejuvenation. We're getting to the cellular cause of these symptoms in the body. People oftentimes want to address symptoms because those are the things that affect us.
Yeah.
But what's really going on is something at the root cause, whether it's a deficiency or an overexposure to something, whether it be food or heavy metals, something. So we really look at what's going on, what's causing these symptoms, and help address those voids that are happening in the body.
I think there's so much, Big Pharma wants to just throw a pill at you for whatever the thing is and not look at the root cause. And I think for a long time, I know I was too, I was kind of sort of trained to just do that. Okay, if something's bothering you, that you deal with this or you go see a doctor for this. It took a long time in my life, adult life, before I thought, maybe that's not the first thing that I explore. How about you, Brad?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think there's like I'll go see my general practitioner doctor if I have a really bad cough, or if they won't go away, or if I'm have an acute sickness, I'll go see them.
Right.
But for everything, I will not go to and I love my doctor, but I will not go to him and ask for advice on how do I get healthy.
Right.
Like, how do I improve my energy? How should I be eating?
Yeah.
I'll never go to that guy with my questions in that realm.
No. And I think people really try to make things black and white, like you're pro doctors or you're not. You're pro-vax or you're not.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And it's like there's so much gray area.
Agree.
If I get hit by a car, don't take me to my acupuncturist.
No,
like,
absolutely.
Take me to the hospital.
Yeah.
But if I'm, having a stomach ache, don't take me to the hospital. Like I'll test myself. I'll go see someone more aligned with my values. There's so much nuance to it.
Right.
Yeah.
But part of it is a lot of people, I think, just want that quick fix.
For sure. And that's where I kind of have to set boundaries in my practice. Not everybody's a client for me. If you're looking for results tomorrow, I'm probably not the girl.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I get a lot of clients that feel great a few days into a program with me, but I get people where they're like, this isn't working. I'm moving on to something else. That's fine. That's not aligned with me.
Yeah.
We're not a good fit.
Right.
This is a long-term thing. My goal is for you to have sustainable health where you can, learn what works for you, learn what doesn't work for you, versus just think, okay, well, I don't know anything about my body other than what my doctor or practitioner is telling me. That's not empowering to me.
Can you give us a couple of examples of patients that you have had that have had really great results?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, I'll first start with myself because I was the first patient and that's what got me into this practice.
Right.
So
this was not anything you wanted to do before?
Not necessarily. I was doing nutrition coaching at the time, just kind of like meal plans and telling people what to and not to eat, you know, in a general sense. But I was finding I was feeling a little bit unenthusiastic. I felt like I was kind of giving general advice and, there was certain things I wasn't just excited about anymore. Yeah. And I was actually really sick at the time. I won't retell that whole story. You can listen to the last episode. But long story short, I went to see a nutrition response testing practitioner. And these are things I had been dealing with for years and years. No answers. I'd been to everyone under the sun. And within 3 sessions, I was 50% better.
That's so crazy.
I had hives, rashes all over my body. And literally 3 sessions in, I felt like a totally different person.
Some relief, finally.
Yeah, exactly. So I was all in. Yeah. Whatever this is, I want more of this.
And who kind of led you on that path?
I'm trying to think. Who recommended that to me? Actually, a girl I follow on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
She does nutrition response testing in LA. I was in San Francisco at the time. I was like, do you know anyone up here? Like, please help me find someone. She was like, I don't, but you can go to this, directory. And so I found someone, and that was great. In my own practice, oh my goodness, I have to pick one. I would love to talk about Quinn, but I'm not going to go there without her permission.
Well, you didn't have to tell her name, and you could have told the story, because I know, and I was like, maybe she'll tell that story.
I have this college beach volleyball player.
Let's just say she's give me a testimony.
But she's been
a great. I won't talk about Quinn because I don't want to.
Yeah, but let's just say it was successful with her.
Yes, she was super successful. Yes. I have another client who came to me with, she felt like she was doing all the right things, and this is a common, description of my clients. I'm doing all the right things. What's wrong?
You know that one, Brad.
Yeah. Right? I'm eating well. She thought I'm doing all this. She thought, but she was just totally bloated and constipated and just uncomfortable all the time. She's like, anything, no matter what I do, every day it's something, which I totally sympathize with. And we got her on a program, and she's amazing. She's like, nice. I feel like a totally different person. I'm a different, business owner now. I have energy. It changed her life. I also got her going to the weight room. She loves it. And she even said, I used to not be motivated at all to work out. I didn't have the energy. I didn't have the, care. And now she loves it. She's like, I move my work schedule around going to class.
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
That's amazing. Like, that's the best testimonial for me. You love taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
I like that.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's connected here, right?
Yeah. It's such a small world.
I know.
Things.
Yeah, and you love the weight room.
I do. I love the weight room. Yeah. It's just such a authentic experience, and it aligns with me. I've said that word a lot, but it's really important to surround yourself with people that align with your values. Yes, that's how we found each other.
I know. That's why I did that.
Yes. You're like, you sound like you think the way I think.
Exactly.
But yeah, I can go into the weight room, feel comfortable, know that I'm taken care of, know that people are, watching my form or they're there to answer my questions. That's not the case in a lot of places.
No.
So
I'm glad you feel like that. That's always been the goal, is to create a really comfortable place to come lift weights or learn how to lift weights.
Yes. Whenever I meet people that, somehow the topic of working out or a gym comes up, I'm like, you have to try the weight room. Yeah. Whether you've never lifted a weight or, you've competed, you can go here and feel comfortable, I love that.
I love hearing that.
And you know what I love is that I feel like we are surrounding, that's so much a part of this podcast, is surrounding ourselves with people and services and techniques, etc., that really are all, like you said, our catchphrase, say it again, Brad.
Live better, longer.
Yes.
Love that.
But it's true.
Yeah.
And it's not just one thing.
Yeah.
It's not just, you're going to go to the weight room and lift weights, or it's not just you're going to see Shelby. It's got to be all of the things in conjunction to make the result turn out well.
And I even find over time, it's kind of a moving target. Mm-hmm. Like certain periods of time of life, you need certain strategies to get through those, and then it kind of shifts to new realms and new needs. And but you have to have a plethora of options, and kind of you learn over time, like, oh, I'm dealing with this, I need to go see this person, or this has come up, I need to go over here.
For sure.
Yeah. And I just like being able to expose everybody, all the people we know around here that we use, have had success with, that we believe in, trust.
Yeah.
And I love that you guys think that way, because I feel like a lot of people, and probably in most industries, but they kind of feel this scarcity mindset of like, well, if I don't get this client, then, I'm bad or wrong. Or like, you want to have people you can refer them to, I can't be everyone for everyone.
Right. No, absolutely.
So having those people that you trust and would gladly recommend, that's important.
Yeah. It's always been a staple of how I've always worked. How I even take care of myself. Is always having a plethora of people around that I kind of believe in for certain different things that I'll go see.
Yeah. And you wouldn't recommend them if you didn't believe them.
100%.
Yeah, that's how I am too.
Yeah,
Same.
that's why I liked got to go through your experience. I like to go through it myself and make sure that I believe in it, that I like it, that I saw benefit from it before I start telling people about it. Yeah. That's really important to me. Is I want to know that I'm going to go there. Or I'm going to believe in those people. Sure. Like I like what they do. I've had some success with it. I've always been really big with that, because there's no one I'll ever recommend somebody to that I haven't gone to that I don't believe in.
Yeah.
So if somebody says, have you ever heard of this person, and I haven't, I will go see that person and have them work on me and just kind of give my 2 cents on what I think, and which people can take or leave, but I just want to know what I'm sending someone to go experience if I'm going to do that, because it could be a really good resource. Yeah. So I'm very open-minded that way.
Well, the latest thing that Shelby's got me on, I don't know if I told you this, maybe I didn't, is Saffron pills.
Oh, you did tell me this. Yeah.
And at first I'm like, what the hell is this? It's not doing shit. Now I really am like,
How do you feel since starting
at first I didn't think I felt anything really, and now I'm kind of like, I thought I lost one of my bracelets. Well, I did yesterday, and it wasn't like a $25 bracelet. And I'm like, normally I would be losing my mind over that. And now I'm like, well, that's what happens when you wear them to work out. Did
you lose it at the weight room?
No.
Oh, phew.
No,
I didn't steal it, I swear.
I would have been down on my knees crawling around. No, I think I did it with the Halloween costume yesterday when I'm pulling it on and off, but whatever. But the point is there's been some I think I told you this. I might have texted her and even said, I just went to my therapist and I asked him about, how do you know if you have anxiety? And he actually started to laugh because he said, you have anxiety. And it was kind of like this aha moment for me, because I had never thought of that. I thought, oh, you mean all this weird shit I feel all the time is anxiety? Oh, okay. But she was quick to say, you are not anxiety here. But in a weird way, I actually kind of felt relief, because it kind of put a name on something that I wasn't sure. But anyway, so she suggested these saffron pills, and now they're not cheap. Saffron is expensive, but what is cheap when it comes to health and wellness, by the way? But so far, I feel like, okay, maybe it's been 2 weeks since you've told me. 3 weeks,
more than that.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. But since I got back I started I'm almost done with your reset. 3 weeks. My last day is Sunday.
Ooh, nice.
Yes. And I think it was right after that that I started. So I would say yes, definitely. And I love the little latte. There's a latte you can make with it. It's really good. There's recipes that they send to you.
And they're based out of Laguna.
Yeah, I saw that. So that's pretty cool. Maybe we should try and get them on. Do you know them?
I don't.
Darn it.
I follow them, but
I wonder if the why am I blanking on her name from Roots?
Laura,
yes. I wonder if she knows them.
she definitely does. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I should.
You should have Laura on.
I should.
Laura's
we
amazing.
should. Sorry, Brad. Oh my
We're
God.
getting off track. But
I know.
yes. Yeah.
Remember the show Friends?
Yes.
When Chandler and Monica get engaged?
Yes.
And it's all about her?
Is that how you're feeling?
That's how I just felt right there.
You know what? I didn't
For
think you were
my wedding,
into
you
the
mean
makeup.
our wedding. For my... I'm getting married. No, we're getting married.
Okay, fair. But anyway, yeah, so that's another thing that she kind of turned me on to, and it seems like it's helping, which is good.
Yeah, I've never heard of using Saffron for that. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Saffron's wonderful. It's really great for people who deal with stress and anxiety. It's also a wonderful alternative to things like SSRIs.
Yes.
There's studies on this. This isn't, just
It isn't just Shelby.
spectating. It's not just Shelby research. It's legit.
Yeah.
And actually, so the company that I recommend is the Fullest Co. And you can go on their website. Like you said, they have recipes. They also have a bunch of research that you can look at. It's really wonderful. And I see a lot of success with clients that especially deal with anxiety or kind of feel, I would say, like gloomy sometimes, that it's also wonderful for that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people struggle with that.
Yeah. And
I think everybody does. Everybody has periods
For sure,
of it.
especially right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and they have a subscription, which is kind of cool. So now I'm getting the pills and the
latte
powder.
Sachets.
Well, it's actually just in a.
It is? But I think they have
bulk.
individuals.
They do. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
The latte sounds...
It's really yummy.
Yeah.
It's really
I have
yummy.
one client who, like, instead of capsules, she just has latte. She's like, I love that I feel like I'm being prescribed latte.
Yeah, it's pretty good. They're good.
Yeah, it's
just
delicious.
with a little coconut milk, and it's
I'll have
delicious.
to try that. I get edgy every now and then, so...
Oh, I think you'll like it.
Yeah.
I think so
do.
too. Give it some time. Like she said, you're not going to pop it
Okay,
and
so that's
feel
not
good.
weird. So
No,
it's-
not at
okay,
all.
okay.
Not at all. It's just like anything, it takes time. But yeah, wonderful.
I'm a new person, can't you tell?
Actually, I
So
have,
much more
chillest.
calm.
I have noticed a lot more.
You liar.
I swear to God.
Really?
Yes.
That I haven't been stressing as much?
Think about our life in the weight room like 2 weeks ago.
Well, that's because I had come back from the trip and I
know.
had eaten crappie and I wanted, my crappie. And I got started on your reset again, which for everybody out there listening, if you're thinking about doing it, it's great.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah.
But you are definitely much calmer. I mean, like
Must be the saffron.
You still have your great energy and you're super fun.
Thank you.
But you're not stressing as much over little things.
I'm
like
trying
you were a
my
couple weeks
hardest
ago.
not to.
I could totally tell the difference.
Yeah. And I mean, Shelby, see, when you work with me on any level, be prepared for the onslaught of text messages you will get from me. Probably both of these two people sitting here can attest to that.
I remember that.
Yeah. So, I mean, but actually that's one thing I love about you, Shelby, is that she's accessible. So if you have a question about something, like, would you do this or this? Or what do you think about this versus this?
Yeah.
She's going to give you her opinion.
Well, and I think people should do that.
As do you.
I always recommend, like, if you have questions, just ask. Let's deal with this up front.
Yes.
Versus trying to figure it out and stressing over it.
No.
So I think that's the best option.
I agree.
To be there for people in the beginning when they're starting something new. Like, just blow me up with questions. Let's get them out of the way right now. I love that. I love that theory.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people struggle with when going to doctors or these larger corporation-based practitioners.
Yeah.
You don't get access to them. You have a question, you have a stress. Maybe you get to talk to the secretary. Maybe you talk to the receptionist.
Or the PA,
maybe.
Yeah.
So it was really important for me to be there for my clients. I mean, that's the most rewarding part.
Yes.
It's like, you have a question that I can help you with.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
I like that.
I do too.
And I feel, and for practitioners out there, they fear that it doesn't last very long.
No.
It's a couple of days of just like them trying to figure things out.
I still text you all the time.
Yeah, but not like you did in the beginning.
Okay.
Like everything was a question,
Yeah,
which is good.
true.
It's like, just get it dialed in and figure it out. And then it tailors off and it's just periodically. But you bring that person's stress levels down so much and create so much comfort and confidence in what you're having them do that it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Versus playing hard to get, like they can't reach you, And then it just stresses the people out.
Sure.
And by the time they finally get a hold of you, they're so upset. And so like they want to give up.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. And I'm sure that's part of why you've been so successful with what you do, right? Because you are accessible to people.
Yeah. And I think a big thing is I've been in their shoes. Right. I've been frustrated. I've been lost. I've been isolated in a sense. Yes. So that's the last thing I want for anyone, having gone through that. I want to be there for you.
Yeah.
I think there's boundaries that, business owners have to set. And I had to learn that, at first I was like, okay, it's midnight. I got to respond to this person.
No, you can wait.
I have to step back and, okay, they'll still have this problem tomorrow.
Yeah.
I can respond tomorrow and still be as beneficial. But yes, it's something that was very important to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, can I ask?
I've been waiting for you to start firing these questions.
All right.
That you want to ask.
Do you know what my number one is?
My guess is seed oil.
How did you know, Shelby?
You only asked me 5 times.
I know. For real. In fact, I said we got to have Shelby back on to talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally as we're driving away from the first time we had our conversation.
No, exactly.
Yeah, we're bringing it back on talking about seed oils.
Yes.
So funny.
Yes. All right. So take it away. What do you want? Should I ask questions, or do you want to just say how you feel, what it is, why you don't?
I think I know what you're asking me without asking me, so I'll start there.
I love it.
And then you can,
yes,
we can clarify.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Seed oils is a big buzzword.
Yes.
I'll kind of answer this 2 ways. Because I know you want to talk about, are seed oils bad? What's the research? What's the story there?
Right.
And I'm going to answer it in 2 ways. Because there's one, we'll get there actually.
Okay.
This is hard without an actual question. I just know what you want to know.
I can be more specific if you want.
I know what you want to know.
Okay.
So we'll start there.
Okay.
So what are seed oils? There are seed oils that aren't that offensive. I use rosehip seed oil on my face every day. Totally fine. Great.
Okay.
Canola oil, not so
great.
Much. But the reason is because, you're going to go on the internet and see tons of practitioners, tons of health professionals that are going to say it's heart healthy. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
Stock your pantries.
Right.
What are you scared of? All these people are fear mongering. What did canola oil start out as? It didn't start out as a food product. It was an engine lubricant that they then found out how to lower the acid. So canola stands for Canadian Oil Low Acid.
Oh,
so they figured out
not know that.
I didn't either.
Yeah, it was founded in Canada. So they figured out how to lower the acid and make it food safe.
Okay, that's gross just right there.
I mean, if you can watch a video, go on YouTube and search how is canola made. You can watch a video without saying any more about it. Looking at it, is that something you want to consume?
Right.
For me, no.
Yeah.
And I'll eat weird stuff. I'm open to trying different foods and whatever. Canola oil, not for me.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. So, okay, why is canola oil not great? Again, I'm going to kind of go back and forth with this. So olive oil. If you eat an olive, it's pretty oily. You can chew on it. You can tell it's oily.
Yes.
If you picked up a rape seed or a cotton seed, it's not very oily. You'd have to do a lot to get out of that.
Right.
So there's this very extensive process that goes into retrieving canola, things like canola oil, cottonseed oil, rapeseed oil, and they're also...
Which, who wants to eat anything that starts with that word?
I know.
Anyway.
It's kind of named accordingly in some ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a long process. So not only... Because when let's say you turn around a bottle of canola oil, it just says canola oil. So people think, okay, single
it's from
ingredient.
The canola
I'm always
seed.
told single ingredient. Yeah. But what happens in that process, you don't have to put solvents that you use to extract things on the ingredient label because it's not technically an ingredient. So they use things like hexane to extract it. And they say, oh, well, there's only trace amounts left. But if you're putting canola oil in everything you cook and everything you eat, that's no longer a small amount. They also bleach it. And they bleach it with dioxides and peroxides. And I know someone out there is going to say, sometimes citric acid. Most citric acid is derived from mold. So not ideal there either.
Yeah.
And you can look all this up. It's not like not conspiracy,
Right,
canola
right,
conspiracies.
right.
And that's just, the half of it. But then you get into what happens when you heat up things like canola oil, which is, about 20 to 30% linoleic acid. You don't want to heat that up because then it oxidizes. And that's where you get that really dangerous amount of oxidative stress in the body. So you're doing that with every meal, every food that you purchase, it adds up. And I also don't think it's, maybe not cause and effect, but I don't think it's a coincidence that canola oil really became popular at the end of the 1970s. It became.
Is that how long it's been around?
Yeah.
I was trying to think.
Well, yes.
I remember there was a big push about, this is the new greatest thing. And that's when it was?
Yeah. So things like cottonseed had been used a lot longer. There was Crisco way back when, but canola oil really boomed at the end of the 1970s.
Okay.
What also took a really big spike towards the end of the 1970s was obesity. So I don't know, I'm not saying cause and effect again, but I think there's something to look at there.
Absolutely.
So that's my little spiel that I think you were kind of looking for.
Totally.
But then on the other hand, so let's say we didn't know any of that. Let's say that was, that information wasn't presented. I know how I feel after I eat foods that are made with oils that I'm not, comfortable with, canola oil, all the ones I just mentioned.
Sure.
And I'm not really willing to wait for the research to confirm that. There was a time where cigarettes were not only, recommended, but considered
your doctor
safe.
was smoking right before he saw you, right?
Cocaine. There was a point where meth, sugar, I know how I feel when I eat food made with canola oil versus how I cook at home.
Yeah.
I don't feel good. I don't need someone else to validate that for me.
But that goes for a lot of things, right? Something may not work for you that works for me, or vice versa. But learning to be really, really aware of those subtleties that we feel when we eat something, I think is so important.
Yeah.
Or what we're doing. But don't get crazy like I do.
So I have a dumb question.
No.
No such thing as a dumb question, Brad.
This is probably a dumb question. So I've known about seed oils for I probably first learned like 15 years ago. I remember Charles Poliquin telling us all about how bad that stuff is, get rid of seed oils. So I haven't had it in my house is it like, so my dumb question is it just canola oil? Because I was about to ask you, is that Crisco? Like does it say canola oil on it? Like I haven't bought any, I've never bought any of this stuff, so I don't even know.
Well, it's tricky. So yes, of course, you can see canola oil and it says canola oil on it. You can buy avocado oil that's cut with canola oil. You can buy olive oil that's cut with canola oil. So you really have to be careful. And that's why I feel for people, they're so over trying to make these decisions where they feel like no matter which one they pick, it's wrong. So
when you say it's cut with canola oil, I mean, it's like part canola oil, part avocado? Okay.
So sometimes, like if you call a restaurant, they're going to tell you the oil that they think you want to hear. But then if you really dig, they'll say, well, it's also cut with canola or cottonseed or soybean
And like rapeseed oil literally says like rapeseed oil on it?
Yeah. People use it in commercial kitchens for fryers because it's cheap. So would you rather spend, let's say you're filling a fryer every day for your French fries at your restaurant. Are you going to spend all the money on olive oil?
Or tallow.
Or tallow. Or something like cottonseed oil that you can get for cents for the gallon, you know? So it's a financial decision for a lot of people, which I get. But when you know what it does to the body, that's not what you want to consume every day.
Gotcha, okay.
Am I at 100% canola oil free? No, I go out and live my life. And I tell my clients the same thing. I want you to be able to go to the restaurant and not care what your food's cooked in because 99% of the time you do and you're good. Yeah. We've talked about this all the time.
Yeah.
Live your life. I don't want you to be bubble boy. That's never the goal. The goal is to get your home life and your diet that you can be in control of straight so that you can go out for dinner, out for birthdays, go on vacations, and you're going to be good.
Fine. Yeah. But I think back to when Earth Balance came on the scene.
Oh yes.
Okay.
The butter?
Fake
faux
butter.
And I was buying that all the time for
same.
the kids. And Veganese, buying that all the time. Oh, this one has grapeseed oil in it. Cool. I'm going to get that instead.
And I think about that and I'm like, gosh, you know, you do something thinking you're doing the right thing, air quotes, right? And it's really not best case scenario. And now here we are back at what we did in the 1950s, right? We've got grease, we got bacon, we got eggs. Yeah. And I'm not mad about it. Yeah.
Steak and eggs.
Right. So it's fascinating, sort of those.
Yeah. Well, I think it's, you know, a process of unlearning and being willing to unlearn.
Right.
You know, as a practitioner, let's say I was recommending canola for years and years and years. I'd have to have that, I don't know, you know, ability to say, you know what, I was wrong. Whereas probably a lot of doctors that have been fighting for this, like, healthy cardiovascular benefits, they may have too much pride to say, you know what, actually, I don't know about this anymore. They may just keep pushing.
Right.
So, yeah.
Wasn't it you, Brad, that said you talked to, and I'm trying to remember who it was, someone that was in your family that was a doctor that said, yeah, we get 20 minutes or one day of nutritional counseling.
Yeah.
Like 16 hours or
something
It
ridiculous.
was like a half a day on a Saturday.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was funny because I was kind of debating with my family on this. And like, I was saying, like, I wouldn't go to my doctor for nutrition advice. He has no training in it. I wouldn't go to my doctor for exercise advice. They have no training in it. My family's like, oh, you're so biased and you're so opinionated. And my cousin's like, I just graduated medical school and I had a 6-hour course on nutrition and no courses, no education on exercise. I'm going to agree with Brad.
Yeah.
And it's nothing against him. It's like, I mean, he knows his role, and if you're sick and it's an acute illness, he can take great care of you. He can keep you alive, which is so valuable. But he's like, yeah, if you want advice on exercise, I'm not your guy. I don't know anything about it. Yeah. So it's kind of crazy how that works. But
I think that was a great. I liked her response about canola oil and seed oils, right? So basically what you're saying though is what I like to say, stack the deck in your favor. You're going to be doing all the things. You're going to be using olive oil, the good oils, and butter and ghee and so forth to cook with. And then when you go out, it's not going to be as much of a load from the caca that they're cooking things with. Because I actually remember there's a restaurant that just opened in Atrium Court in Fashion Island not too long ago that was like, I want to say it was either Greek or I don't remember what it was, but my son brought it home one day and was like, and it looked really good. The chicken and hummus and, you know, the cucumber salad and all the things. I'm like, where did you get that? That looks great. And he says, oh, it's awesome. Went over there and I just happened to ask. I said, so which things are cooked with seed oil? She's like, oh, all of it. We can't afford to do it without doing that, is what the owner said to me. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. It's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, it is a bummer. But
that's why we love fermentation farms so much.
Exactly, yes. I know people are always like, oh, where do you like to go out to eat? I'm like,
Same.
I go to Firm Farm.
I know. True Foods Kitchen is now seed oil free.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is?
True Foods Kitchen.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yep.
I always kind of live life where the house is super clean.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then when we go out, we just go out and don't worry about it and don't stress over good eye. What's the best?
That's a good way to be.
Yeah,
right.
I just have found that to be the easiest, especially with kids.
But it's easier to make stuff at home now. And I never used to be that person. I was always like, I just want to go out. No, now I'm the opposite.
Yeah, that's why like I outside of olive oil, butter, ghee, like I haven't bought canola oil.
Yeah,
I don't even know what it looks like.
Yeah.
Or I think rapeseed oil. I'm like, you can buy that?
Yeah.
Like, someone would buy that?
I know. It's kind of weird.
But I just didn't know. So,
yeah.
But I had an interesting thought of you the other day.
Uh-oh.
No, it was a good thought.
Okay.
So I have this client, her name is Kim Kane. She's awesome. She's a nutritionist, lifestyle coach, stuff like that. And so we were always talking shop, and she's always giving me her ideas. And she shared with me a meme showing the differences of foods now versus years prior.
Yeah.
And it just validated how you always say, like, the same food we were eating 20 years ago is very different than what our kids are now eating that same food. And so it was like all these different like labels showing the differences over the years. It's a cool meme. It was really cool.
Yeah. Well, you know what's sad is actually looking at the present day differences between a lot of the products we offer versus other countries who have banned a lot of ingredients.
Yeah.
It's like, it is crazy to look at, 50 years ago versus now, but now versus now, just based on your location. It's ridiculous. That was the whole Kellogg's thing. I don't know if you saw people, going to Kellogg's and trying to change the ingredients because they're using, red dye 40, things like that in our cereals versus overseas they're using natural, vegetable and fruit derived coloring.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But you vote with your dollar, just like you're saying. We like to give our money to Firm Farm because we know what we're getting in return.
Absolutely. My husband's always like, it's so expensive over there. Well, you get what you pay for.
But I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, we grew up on that. It's fine." It's like, actually,
but it's not the same.
We didn't grow up on that. We grew up on something totally different.
Yeah.
Because I've always asked that a lot of times. Like, my family didn't know.
Right.
We hamburger helper, mac and cheese, Kool-Aid,
same.
all those things. Like, it was pretty normal.
Sometimes my argument to that, though, is, there's always the people that's like, I eat that and I'm fine. Meanwhile, irregular periods, doesn't sleep through the night, terrible acne, like all these things that they don't know they can even control.
Yeah.
I get so many times clients come to me for one thing, and then over time they're like, wait, can you help with my skin? I'm like, we've been doing that and you don't even know. Everything happens on a cellular level. So, it's twofold.
Oh, yeah, 100% it's twofold. And I think people don't realize how bad they feel until they start to feel
We
good.
talked about that the other day.
All the time. Yes.
Yeah, feeling good to people is very generalized because they just don't know any different.
Right,
Yes.
right. Or they're just having their drinks after work and to make them feel better, right? And they don't even notice
How it's impacting so many other parts of their life.
Absolutely.
Your baseline changes when you change the way you feed and fuel your body.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And I always tell people, like, you should be able to feel change. When someone's like makes some change, they don't really feel it. That's always a sign of like, oh, they're so detached from what their body's telling them. They've kind of lost connection with it.
Well, that's hard to zero in on for a lot of people, don't you think?
Yeah. If you're just blown out and you're not eating well and you're drinking alcohol and tons of caffeine, you're not gonna be able to connect with anything. But the more you start taking steps to take care of yourself, the more you start to tune into your body and everything, you'll start to be able to feel like.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about, I don't like how I feel when I eat that. A lot of people can't feel any different
exactly.
than what they eat.
Exactly.
But the more you start making positive improvements to your physical body, your cells, all that stuff, the more you begin to feel how things impact you.
Yeah.
I remember one time I had when I wrote my book, I used this one lady's story from back home that I grew up with. She did my reset, and with my reset, we'd have people just take out kind of common food sensitivities. And at the end of the reset, she's like, I was fine when I used to eat pizza. It had no impact on me. She goes, how do I know it's even bad for me?
Oh.
I'm like, okay, well, hey, have a pizza tonight.
Yeah.
And let's talk in the next day or two.
Yeah.
And she calls me 2 days later. She's like, "What the hell did you let me do that?
Right.
I've been living in the bathroom for like the last couple of days. Like, what the hell?
Isn't
Why
that
would you
wild?
do that?" I'm like, "Well, I wanted you to feel how bad that makes you feel because that used to be normal to you." And so that was an example of like the powers of you start doing things to take better care of yourself. You'll start to feel the impacts of these different things that people are talking about. Well, that's not good for you. You should, if you're not feeling any difference, whether you have McDonald's or, a nice home cooked meal at home, you feel the same. You should probably take some action to kind of upgrade your health a little bit.
Yeah.
And try it again 30 days later. You should not be able to eat something like McDonald's and feel great.
Yeah.
100%.
Like you just shouldn't. Like that should bog you down and make you feel like garbage.
And pizza used to be my death row meal. It did.
Yeah.
My final meal. I love pizza.
Yeah.
And now I'm just.
Goop makes a really good pizza, I will say.
You seed oil, Shelby.
I know, but I'm not eating pizza every night.
Okay, but I like Folks.
Okay.
You haven't had them?
No,
That's good.
I try to be gluten-free.
Okay, they are
99.9%
sourdough.
of the time.
They are sourdough.
I know. Sometimes sourdough works for me, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
It really just depends on the fermentation process.
Right. I feel we've talked about this being on the tail end of your reset again. That okay, so dairy's out, and I'd let that come back in, but it was all raw. It was still raw,
and it's
but
person to person.
And I definitely think it made me inflamed.
Yeah, for some people it doesn't work. I'm very minimal with dairy. I have to be.
Yeah.
And I know when I hit that threshold of okay, too much.
Yeah. And certain sourdoughs, same.
Yeah.
But I love sourdough so much. It's delicious. Don't you think? Warm sourdough with butter. Oh. Talk dirty to me.
I love that you got a whispering voice.
I know, it's so good. It's so
Sourdough.
good. It is. I mean, that is better than sweets to me. Well, it is sugar, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
My other question for you, talk about electric cars.
Oh boy. Okay. Electric cars.
Yeah.
So
I'm sad. My husband has a Tesla.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just so Teslas in particular,
great.
their battery is situated, like, I want to say right under the
driver's
seats. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know the research on it, but I have seen clients who, around the time they bought their Tesla, they started to get migraines and eczema, out of nowhere. But the timeline, aligned.
Yeah.
And then when they would remove it, because I would say, okay, can you drive something else if they had another car for 2 weeks and see what happens? Oh, less migraines. Oh, less itchy. What's going on? And it's the same reason I don't, recommend AirPods or sleeping next to your phone or sleeping next to your Wi-Fi. Like, these things are affecting us and we don't entirely know how. We are the guinea pigs. That's what people don't understand.
Right.
We don't know enough. And I'm not willing to be the guinea pig. A lot of people are.
Yeah.
That's your prerogative, not mine.
Yeah.
But yeah, Teslas, electric cars, it's just not the move.
Yeah.
And what's so crazy is California came out and said, by, 2030 or 2035,
we're going to get electric.
And then a week later, they announced all these brownouts. So how are you going to charge your car?
Right.
Well, it's so backwards.
Yeah, for sure.
It's bizarre.
Is it the EMFs that those cars are?
Yes, exactly.
There's
And
more and more stuff coming out about that.
Yeah, and in one client in particular, lithium would come up when we would test.
Oh, wow.
Lithium battery. So it's I don't have enough research to say this is exactly what's happening, but I've seen enough for myself and heard from enough people that there's something going on.
Yeah, I definitely, I use wired headphones now again, and we have our wired headphones here, and so the earbuds, never use those anymore. And I also...
And you don't, at the airport, you get pat down?
When I'm not driving my family crazy. Now that I have my TSA number, I think it'll be quicker.
Oh, okay, yeah.
See, I feel like it's I bring my water also, so it's like, okay, you're not only getting your water tested, but you're going
That's okay. I'm that girl too at the airport.
Matt gets so annoyed. I am high maintenance, and I'm high-low, is what I say.
Same.
Because I'm not like the top.
I'll be dressed and ready before you, but I'm going to go through TSA the way I want to go through TSA.
I see. Yeah. So I think the bottom line is, like anything, like the canola oil or whatever, we're going to try and lessen our load of the EMFs, right?
Yes, exactly.
So you don't need your Apple Watch, you don't need an Oura Ring, you don't need a Fitbit altogether.
Right. Well, what I will say, little disclaimer about the Oura Ring, because I have people that come in wearing their Apple Watch and we'll test with and without it just to see, is this a problem? For some people it's not, for some people it is. The Oura Ring, what I like about it is you can keep it on airplane mode all day and it'll track your data. So just at night, I'll take it off airplane mode and it'll, sync everything. For people that want to check all day how they're, operating, they don't want it on airplane mode because you need to be on the charger for it to sync. But that's why I like the Oura Ring, because you can have it on airplane mode.
So I could do that at night.
Exactly. So at night when you charge it or whenever
No, I'm wearing it though at night. They need for the metrics.
Yeah, so you can put it back on, but let's say after all day, you go put it and you sync it. You can see all your data, and then put it back on airplane mode while you sleep. In the morning, you can look at it again if you want to be tracking it regularly like that.
Well,
you could go all week and then sync the whole week if you want.
No, I like to know.
Yeah.
I like to know.
Well, I've noticed that my clients, if they sleep next to their phones or iPads, it really disrupts sleep. To get away from them or to put it in airplane mode, changes sleep quality.
You can't get a phone call though, can you? Right? On airplane mode, you can't get a phone.
No.
That's where something like a landline would be nice, or Kate has a business phone, so we'll keep it on loud downstairs.
Oh,
so
that's a good idea.
If anything's going on, that you can call that line.
Yeah.
I know. Well, my husband leaves his phone right by his nightstand because his mom lives alone and she's elderly.
Yeah, I get that.
So I'm like, I don't know how else to do that. We got rid of our landline. Do you have a landline?
No.
Do you?
No.
Yeah.
My mom just got rid of the landline we had my whole life.
That had to hurt.
I was like, this is weird, Mom. Ever since
the same phone number.
The same phone number.
I know. I can still think of my landline number growing up.
Yeah, and we're talking like 45 years.
Yeah.
We've had that number.
Wow.
It's when we moved into our the house I grew up in McMinnville.
Okay,
that's special.
Yeah, so I would probably be like 4.
Wow.
Yeah, so literally 45 years the same number.
That's amazing.
I'm like, so weird to think that it's gone.
Yeah.
Remember when you used to know all your friends' phone numbers?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And like
100%.
now I couldn't tell you any.
No.
I couldn't even tell you their area code.
Well, you
Yeah.
probably know Cade's.
Yeah, I have to know Cade's.
Right.
I know, for the most part, my parents, my sister,
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
a friend. I used to, you used to have to
Yeah,
dial and know your friend's
sure.
phone number. Eventually, you learned it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I remember I had this baseball card box in my room that had everyone's phone number written on the top of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
I don't
I
know
had
why.
my little address book with like my 5 friends.
Or the Rolodex. Who had a
Yeah.
Rolodex?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
Simpler times, man.
But I mean, I get it. My mom's like, I know it's sad, but like, no one calls me.
No,
on it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Why
Probably
spend
a lot
the money?
of spam
It's all
too.
spam. Like she goes, everyone calls my cell phone. Like, why
Yeah.
am I paying for this? I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Good point.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe eventually people will have a mobile phone as their landline. It just lives at home. It's the house phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. Any other really fun things you want to share with us, Shelby?
Ooh,
I know.
fun things.
I'm thinking she does real. If you don't follow her on social media, you need to, because Moonray Wellness, which is the name of your business, she always puts great little, reels up there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love it, about different things. That was one of the things, the Tesla thing. A haunted house, except it's Teslas and whatever.
Yeah.
So she always does good content.
I
you.
remember hearing a random thing about EMFs, kind of to go along with this, with fighter pilots. So the fighter pilots sit on this thing that basically emits a ton of EMF, the radar thing.
Right.
It sits underneath their lap. And they found, I believe, I may be completely off here, but if I remember right, it has an impact on like the X chromosome. That's the male chromosome, right? So
Why?
the EMF somehow...
No, Y chromosome is the male.
Y chromosome is the male? Okay, so it's the Y chromosome that gets impacted. So fighter pilots typically only have daughters
Really?
from all the EMFs being produced by the
Interesting.
radar that they sit on. Now, I've never read research on
Right,
that. I was
but it would make
told that
sense.
in
It would
a
make
lecture
sense.
on EMFs and things like that. But somehow it impacts the Y chromosome in the man.
Interesting.
So they typically only have daughters. I've met a lot of fighter pilots, and I've yet to meet one that has a son.
Wow.
Or if they did, it was
That's
before they
interesting.
started flying the jets.
would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was super random.
That's wild.
Yeah. I mean, that was like 15 years ago that I learned about that. When EMFs were like the woo-woo thing.
Yeah.
Like I remember having an old business partner tell me, you can't talk about EMFs. Like, you can't do that. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they're an issue.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, I know even because I post a lot or I'm on my phone too much sometimes, I can feel it. My
Getting
hands
hot.
feel like
Oh.
tingly. Or,
really?
Oh, yeah. I have to put my phone. I'm also very sensitive. I go into a crystal shop and I'm like, oh.
Interesting. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, some people are more or less sensitive to them, but they're very real. What the impact is yet, I don't think we know.
Yeah.
But again, similar to canola oil, I know how I feel when I'm by my Wi-Fi, by, my phone all the time versus not.
Yeah. But it makes sense to start to maybe try to focus inward more and notice how you feel with certain things. I mean, that's a skill that a lot of us don't have, I
Yeah.
think.
Well, in your house, they have EMF testers.
Yes,
I did
yes.
this years ago when my
Yeah.
son was born. I went through my whole house,
Did
tested
you?
the EMF. And it was funny, in his bedroom, he's a baby, the rocking chair that we would try to rock him back to sleep at night, he would lose his mind in it.
Really?
And that was the one area of the whole house, the outlet right behind the rocking chair emitted
Oh.
massive EMF.
Wow.
So when you try to sit in the rocking chair to rock him to sleep,
yeah.
he would just get more and more upset.
Agitated.
You get farther away from that and he would fall asleep.
Huh.
It was really interesting. I just remember how hot that spot was. Like
Yeah.
the EMF radar just went through the roof in that
Really?
one specific spot in the house.
I bought one too because I bought an EMF, mitigator or whatever
Yeah.
it is. I think it's the Soma Vedic one. And I was like, okay, I just spent all this money on this thing. This thing better work.
Yeah.
So I bought a detector, and sure enough, around it, so much lower, near zero on it, because I put it right by my Wi-Fi. So I'll work on the computer, and it brought it way down.
Yeah, that's cool.
There's a gal that I follow on Instagram, Tech Wellness. I also,
Oh, yeah.
is
I
that-
love her.
Do you? Okay, yeah. That talks about a lot of it. She's got all the things.
Yeah.
Like the, what is it? Not a kill switch for it, but
Oh, for the Wi-Fi?
yeah, something like that.
I do remember a guy gave me this bag to try.
Yeah.
And you'd put your phone in it next to your bedroom and it would cut off EMF from
yeah.
it. I can't remember what it was
So
called.
the
but-
There's a
phone was
few of
still
them.
operable?
I believe so. I don't remember that part. but the bag would block the EMF radiation
from you.
Yeah, so you could have it. So I could have it on my nightstand in the bag.
Ooh, I need to find out about that because
Yeah,
that's
I
what
can't
Matt
remember
needs.
the name of it. Yeah,
There's a few of them.
Are there?
Yeah.
Does she have anything like that on Tech
I think
Wellness?
she probably does. If
Okay.
not, she has a recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look.
and they had something you put like in your pillowcase to also help. It was some. They had some. It was. The guy just gave it to me to try.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was super cool. And I had my EMF tester, so I knew it was working
Yeah.
by the tester. But
Nice.
yeah, some really interesting things around there around EMF.
Definitely.
Well, I think we were we are out of time.
Okay.
We went over.
Did we?
Oh.
We always
Well, everybody should hit Shelby if they're not
Thank
following
you.
at Moonray Wellness.
Moonray Wellness. Yeah, she's awesome. Thanks for coming and joining
She's
us.
Yeah, thanks for
local.
having me.
And we'll have a code for if that's still okay.
Yeah, I think you have your individual codes.
Yes, we
You
do.
have-
If someone wants to
Yeah.
have a consultation with her.
RA50 and Brad 50, you
Yeah.
can get 50% off your first
Oh,
consultation.
nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. That's awesome. Yeah, definitely give her a go. It's
Yeah.
it's a really neat experience.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for
Yeah,
coming back.
thank you.
Of course.
Yes.